2016, I was working out in a gym in Kansas City, and the Lord told me to take out my phone. And as I took it out, I opened my notes, and I found myself writing down the 8 stations that Jesus walked me on in my pathway to now more than 10 years of freedom from pornography and sexual addiction. Well, several years later, our home church, Church on the Move, and Pastor Whit George approached us to fund the training program that we now called Katharos. Katharos has now been available for 9 months. We've had 600 men walk this Jesus pathway to purity. It is changing lives. And we thought you might want to see what an evening at Katharos looks like. Let's go to Katharos. I so look forward to these nights. I just can't wait to get there. I can't wait to see what God's going to do, and it's just so awesome. I got a email from a guy that went through our very first Katharos program at Church on the Move, and he said, Blaine, I've been free for a year. I haven't had one stumble, one slip up, one relapse back into the world of porn since I went through Katharos. And the beautiful thing about his story was he kept talking about Jesus, and it wasn't about Blaine, and it wasn't about even the program as much as it was that he discovered this Jesus path, and he's been living into this Jesus path. It's a work of the heart. It's a change of the heart. In fact, that's what Katharos means, right? Is when Jesus was preaching at the Sermon on the Mount, and he gave that very first beatitude, he said, "Blessed are the Katharos, for they shall see God." Really what he was saying, that Katharos in Greek is blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So it's a heart work, which is a lot different from just a work of our own will, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It is cold. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. So this is 180. This brings back old memories. This is where I used to youth pastor for 10 years. We built this building. See if the doors are open. Yes.
Blaine.
Hey man,
Good to see
thanks
you,
for
bro.
coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you. Let's go sit down and kind of talk about tonight, and appreciate you doing this tonight. So this is your first time at Katharos, right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
yeah, it's great to be here.
Whit George was in my children's class in 1984. About 10 years later, I was his youth pastor, and not long after that, he was actually our worship leader at our 180 student ministry. Today, he's my pastor, and he's one of my closest friends in all the world. We've taken 150 men through our Katharos program at Church on the Move in the last 9 months. Here's why. It's pretty awesome what's happening here, but I was kind of talking to Brock on the way over, and I was saying, really, we produced the books, the curriculum, all that kind of stuff, and of course Church on the Move was instrumental in resourcing that, but none of that would really happen without pastors like yourself that have the courage to talk about porn in the church. And
I just kind of figured, it doesn't seem a surprise to me that there's porn in the church. It's happening. I felt like surely people understand that this is reality, and maybe I think if we want our congregations to be vulnerable, we got to go first.
Yeah.
And you got to lead the way. You got to model the culture. People follow what you do a whole lot more than what you say. I just kind of figured, we need to talk about this, and I didn't really consider a whole lot of the backlash, to be honest.
So have you had any?
I haven't had any. No,
no one's left the church and said, "Hey, my pastor looked at porn at one point."
Oh no! In fact, it's been just the opposite. I've had so many people come up to me and say, "Thank you,
really,
for your vulnerability, your honesty," and then sometimes, and I get that a lot, and then sometimes they go, "Man, when you like specifically the porn stuff. They really admired that I would talk about that.
Really?
Yeah, really admired.
When you talk to other pastors about this issue, what would your recommendation be? I mean, what would you tell them to do to begin to help the men of their church?
Well, you need a strategy. You got to have something. You got to have a game plan. You know, I mean, I can remember years ago, my dad, doing a talk about purity. And that was a bold move. We'd never talked about anything really like that within the church. And you knew there were guys dealing with it. I was dealing with it most likely at that time. It depends on how far back you go. But what could we offer? Come down front and be prayed for.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of cases, that's all the church has really been able to do is say, man, we hate this for you. If we will talk about it, we hate it, we want you to be free, let us pray for you.
Yeah.
And what I've loved about Katharos is that it gives us a game plan. Like there's a roadmap out.
Right.
And that's why we've jumped in and gotten behind it, is because, well, we didn't have anything.
Right.
And where were we going to find something? And when, he said, hey, Whit, I've got this program that, I've put together, I was all about it because we needed help. And it's already starting to work and bear fruit.
Come on up. Let's go see who's up here. Guys, if you want to grab yourself a seat, get your coffee. Everyone got your coffee? So I am super blessed to have a pastor like Whit who will make time for guys like you, who will share his story in such a candid and honest way, and not just that, but in a hopeful way, to give guys like all of us hope that if we have men that are leading us, that have found victory, that have found strength, that God can do works in their life, even though we're all imperfect, that he can work in our life as well. So why don't you give him a good welcome tonight. He's got a few words to share with you this evening.
Hey guys. It's pretty cool for me, honestly, to get to sit here with you guys. What this group means. Just the fact that it exists, and even where it is. When I think about the story of, man, what God's done in my life and in Blaine's life, we were kind of reminiscing. It's pretty remarkable that this is happening here. So I'm honored to be here with you guys. We're not walking through this in shame. We're walking through this with, hope and a sense of victory. And it's the sense that we will, or Christ will win in us in the end. And Jesus said, really the main issue is the issue of the heart, not what you've actually done. He said, whoever looks on a woman with lust in his heart has committed adultery with her already. Well, I had done that countless times. But by God's grace, truly, I sit here before you free. The same, whatever passions, fire, it's all still there. It's a matter of living this out as a discipline. And so here you are. I commend you for that. Like, you guys are taking a step, and I can't imagine that it's easy, but you're here.
And as Jesus said, we have to continue in the work. We have to continue in being his disciples. We have to continue in the truth. So I've put in your notes here, we must reclaim control of our mind if we hope to create the tomorrow we're committed to. And what a lot of men don't understand about porn in the brain is that you can change the way your brain works. Because right now, every one of us have these things called neural pathways. Really what addiction is you have strong neural pathways that you've got used to going down, and you just literally have trouble stopping your thoughts from heading down that path. I teach the Katharos program live here at Church on the Move, my home church, 2 to 3 times a year. But all of our partner churches that are using Katharos actually are given video training. And so after the video training, their men divide up into smaller groups, maybe 5 or 6 or 6 to 8, and here's what they do. They advocate for each other. They pray for each other. They sometimes are confessional and sharing maybe their sins and what they want God to heal them of. But they are there to do the hard work and to have brotherhood and be there for each other during the week. I talked to a few of our key group leaders about what Katharos has meant to them. Good to see you guys. Man, it's been so good to have each one of you part of Katharos. And I got a chance to kind of hang around the groups tonight and just kind of walk around, and I'm hearing really deep conversations, and I'm hearing, laughter, and I'm like, there's some really cool stuff happening. So we just wanted to get some stories, what is God doing in your life, and not just Katharos, but what is the Lord kind of teaching you and showing you. So maybe Andrew, you could start, what are you learning through this semester of Katharos?
Absolutely. This is actually my second time through Katharos. I've struggled with this issue for 30 plus years.
Wow.
The Katharos is learning to change your heart, your mind, and your soul.
Yes.
It's not just willpower. In growing closer to God, I'm growing closer to my family as well. It's that healing property that's happening between my wife and I that without this program, I've been through a number of programs, and this is really the first program that's taken into account that it's got to be your heart change to be able to change everything in your life and to overcome this issue, this addiction.
Luke, you were a part of last semester. You got involved in the last, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically you'd say this is my second time through. I did come in halfway through last semester, and that was just for where I was, just groundbreaking stuff for me, just where my walk was with God and just how my marriage was. It was really, really in a dark spot, and so to come in and just have whole new perspective was really refreshing for me. And kind of what we talk about in week 1 of Katharos is the death to narcissism. And for me, that was been crucial, just getting to talk to you, Pastor Lee, the guys in my group, of just really what it means to lay yourself down. Setting everything else aside, being totally stripped down to, what's the core thing we want to do, and that is to serve the Lord. And to be able to do that and come to a place like this where we are equipping ourselves for the fight. The fight isn't here in our Katharos group, it's outside of it. Yeah. And so what we do while we're here with the accountability, equipping ourselves, doing all that, allows us to take the fight out there, to take that into my family and my wife and our relationships, and just continue to build that foundation has been just pivotal for us. So I'm just been really thankful for it.
6 months ago, before Katharos, I had gotten to a point where it was change or die. And I found your story online. It had been written about in the Tulsa World, and I looked you up, and I found out that there was this class, and it was like the weekend before the semester started, and I told my wife, I found this thing, I'm going. And it has been incredible for me, helping me to get the tools. I don't want to die, but I don't want to keep hurting the people in my life that I love. And so in order to not do that, I have to have the tools to be successful. And that's what Katharos has helped me and empowered me with. And that I hope that now in my leadership, for our small group, that I can pass along to others.
So I was first, I guess became addicted to pornography when I was probably around 12.
Wow.
And then about 2 years ago, I got married and thought, well, that's it. That fixes it. I don't need this anymore. And, after a little bit, it came back, and that was just devastating. And I knew that I had to change. It wasn't my environment that needed to change. And so I found this group and started coming, and it has brought real life change. This is not just about stopping pornography or sexual sin. It's about a whole life change. It's about becoming the man, the person that God wants you to be, and reorienting everything you're about.
Through the first session that I came through Katharos was, I knew I needed change. You know, been through challenges all my life and never really knowing my place. I always wanted to please others. I wanted acceptance. And it wasn't until going through some of the classes and stuff that that is able to figure that out. And ever since the first time that I was sexually abused as a young boy at 6 years old, you know, forced to watch porn, I didn't seek it out. It was forced on myself. From there, it planted a seed, and the strip clubs, the sex, the alcohol, the motorcycle clubs, everything, I wanted to excel in anything that I did. It just all snowballed, from affairs to putting my family through hell. Getting the men here in the church to, you know, rally around me and not give me a handout or anything, but just to give me love and show me that I'm accepted for, even though I do have my flaws. After the last session of Katharos, you know, I screwed up again, and I was at that, I need a change. Something's going to give. I'm either going to call it quits and check out, or I'm going to dig in. And there was some scars and that I thought were healed and done, that were just only scabs. And so they were festering underneath, but never had a real chance to heal like they needed to. And going through some of those steps and pulling it out have been remarkable. And the life change that it's done for my own family, and the way me and my wife communicate now, and the openness that we have, and if I can help share that with one person to keep from doing some of the same mess ups, then it's worth it.
You know what I love about Katharos is this brotherhood, having each other's backs, trusting each other with our stories, and knowing I can share anything with these guys. That's what causes us to be able to open up like this and share this. So I'm just so proud of you guys, sincerely. Really am proud of each one of you and so grateful. And I hope you'll continue, as God leads you, to be a part of helping to continue to lead it. So, love you, buddy. Appreciate it, brother. My Catholic brother, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Amen. Friend, this can happen in your church, or maybe with a collection of guys that you want to bring together. In fact, we've even had fathers and sons that have done this work together. Here's the point. Jesus is using Katharos to radically change lives, to save marriages, to set the captives free. We'll help you. We'll train you as a leader. All you have to do is go to blainebartel.com, check out the Katharos link. We're there to come alongside you and help you reach the men in your church or in your community.